Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Russ Fritz.
And I'm Nathan Johns.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because right now we start.
Switching grooves. How are you
What?
tonight, Russ?
What's up, Nate?
Not much. How are you, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Just getting over a nasty sickness for about a week.
Oh yeah. It's been going around. We had that in our house, so we're getting over it here too.
Man,
Glad. It seems like you're feeling better though.
yeah, I did nothing but sleep all weekend last weekend. So,
Oh yeah. So
unfortunately, it's just going around, man.
I'm liking this new background you have. It looks
You like that?
awesome. It looks like a dirt track with your dirt news.
That was kind of the point.
I like that.
Yeah, that was kind of why I did it.
So, well, before we start, I'd like to give a shout out because I needed to give a shout and I didn't get a chance to do it last week. I gotta give a shout out to Aaliyah Robinson, part of Robinson Racing. She is part of the Brockport, I think it's Blue Devils football team. Uh, Probably one of the only girls that I know that's on a football team currently, and she's beating the stuffing out of the boys. So I got to give her a shout out. Another shout out tonight. We're currently on a 4 race win streak with Robinson Racing's Kart Prep in the RC series. So I got to give a shout out. I brought my bottle with me. Give a shout out to Robinson Kart Treatments. They've been a huge success when it comes to this racing we've been doing lately with the off season right going on right now with big cars. We've taken to the RC track and absolutely dominated the field. So definitely got to give a shout out to them, whether it's tire prep, lubrication, cleaning products, the whole 9 yards. They're your one-stop shop for top of the line go kart prep and go kart care treatments.
Just
So
let Kevin know that's $50 each time.
every time I win, I want to collect the
No, I'm
fee.
talking about
Just
each time.
kidding.
Each time we mention him, it's $50.
I would love for
I'm
that to
just kidding
happen.
with him. Kevin's a good
But
guy. I like Kevin. You can't go wrong with Robinson's Tire Prep, though, man. I tell you what, if you can get your hands on it, grab some.
but but before I forget, Aaliyah has been absolutely dominating the football field, and their team has been almost unstoppable. They've had
And
two
we,
very close games lately with goal line stands that have determined the game end up being a tie rather than a loss. So very very tough competition. I believe she's playing wide receiver and linebacker for defense. So very very proud of her as a teammate, and I almost consider her like a sister to me. So congrats to her. Good job this season. We can't wait to see her play next season.
and I'm going to give a shout out to one of our guests that actually already commented. It's another streamer in the area from Shop Talk 419 on YouTube. Bryce Black. He's like, it's 10:30. Go to bed. Like, well, we don't
We
have to
got to
work
start a
tomorrow.
little late. We got to start a little late tonight, Bryce.
Yeah, maybe we'll just stay up all night and we'll stay online all night.
I mean, you guys don't have you don't have a restriction on me this week. I don't think I could rattle on for hours.
Well,
You guys get tired of me after
I
a
don't
while.
have a restriction on the program anymore. So
Yes, let's do it. All
at
right, let's
one,
start with your dirt stuff before I forget.
so
Oh, Bryce works at 5,
I get up at 4 every day, but I put my 40 hours in, so I'm off tomorrow, bud.
and we're glad you enjoyed that plug, Russ. Kevin, I can't talk tonight. That's a bad start. But glad that we have something to represent. I mean, whether it comes to go kart prep or RC prep, that stuff is
Yeah.
amazing. I
Uh,
will personally
and I'll tell
vouch
you,
for a bunch.
if you just like watching, um, uh, excuse me, if you like to watch broadcasts that are strictly about just anything and everything racing and just kind of bull crapping around, don't forget to check out Shop Talk with Bryce Black. Awesome guy, man, funny guy. I know he doesn't like Travis Philo very much at all, so and I'll leave it at that. But Bryce is a good guy. Actually, if you're looking for a house to buy and you want a huge shop, get a hold of Bryce and his realtor.
Now, if only I could afford it. Darn it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice place.
I like that. I
I
like
told you
that.
he didn't like Philo, man.
Oh gosh, don't
does he
start with this
does
now,
he love
Kevin.
Kyle Larson? Well, I'm sure he loves him a lot more than he loves Philo.
We better get started on your dirt stuff before we get too much more sidetracked.
That's what the show's all about, man.
Getting sidetracked. I guess
Yep,
switching groups. I
it's
guess
it's
makes
always
sense.
been that way, and
I guess
it'll
that works.
it'll probably never change. But I have to pull something up here real quick though.
All right.
There it is. I gotta pull up my notes, so you know how me, man. I can't wing it like you, man. I gotta keep notes and write everything out.
Trust me, it does get hard after a while just rattling this stuff off at the same time. There's so many big headlines that it does make it easy to remember some of them.
Yeah, it's nice to just be able to write it out, man. And I just write out everything I'm gonna say,
Oh yeah.
so I don't have to worry about messing it
Oh,
up.
I just let it flow. I got good at that.
So Cole Macedo, yeah, he's going full time next year. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. So
That was the
here,
one that Tara
the
liked, right?
Cole.
Your friend that was at which one was the one you liked at the track?
No,
That's
she
Caleb.
liked Caleb Henry.
That's right. I had the wrong name.
Cole Macedo is a good kid though. His
I
brother's
had the wrong
Carson.
name.
Yeah,
That's right, because I know there's Cole and Caleb, or Cole and Cap, or yeah, Caleb and
yeah.
Cap Henry. That's why I got mixed up.
So anyway, all I really got to talk about is the outlaw race. I mean, because high limit season's over with, so that's about all I've got for this week. So you
I
got
feel
plenty
like
of
there's been
time
a few
for.
announcements. I feel like there's a few of those I saw.
Yeah, we'll get to them. Yeah, I wrote this show for 2 days ago, but we were having trouble with scheduling. So
And technology and sickness.
yeah, my microphone didn't want to work the other day for some
Ugh.
dumb reason. So whatever, I got it fixed. So here goes nothing. So, Clute, Texas native Aaron Reitzel arrived at the Federated Auto Parts Route 66 showdown, ready to defend his impeccable record. Having triumphed at the Illinois Oval during the All-Star Circuit of Champions era events in 2018 and 2019, he was eager to compete against the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, marking their return to the venue for the first time since 2017. You know how long that is, Nathan?
I missed the date. Sorry, I was adjusting my glasses.
The first time that they were back at Route 66 since 2017. So
It's like we're talking like 7 years. Sorry, I can't do math. Like Bryce said, it's
I was
late at
just
night.
waiting for you.
Late at night, I'm trying to do math. And it's like 7 years. It's not 5 years. 7 years. I can't count. Ugh. Too much of that purple punch getting in my head.
Yeah, you've got to give that stuff up, man.
I know.
So
It's so fast though.
After a 5-year hiatus from racing at this challenging track, for him, not for the series, for him, after a 5-year hiatus from racing at the track, the question loomed: could Reitzel rise to the challenge and secure a third consecutive victory at Dirt Oval 66? Well, what do you think, Nathan?
I feel like he got it done, but I didn't see it, so I don't know. What happened? Did he win?
Reitzel secured the pole position for Friday's main event and maintained his lead throughout the entire 25-lap feature.
So he did win.
Although a tricky restart and some late lap traffic introduced a bit of tension, they ultimately failed to hinder the Ridge and Sons Racing driver, and Reitzel successfully held off a last lap challenge from David Gravel, clinching his third straight win in Joliet. So he did a hell of a job. This is awesome, Reitzel said. It's been a long time, just not going up and down the road like I used to. You kind of lose your racecraft a little bit. This feels great. I couldn't feel more excited. My entire family is here. This is the first outlaw win they've ever seen. Brian and Lisa Ridge, this is their first true outlaw win. I just couldn't be more happy to get it for them. They deserve it. They've given me everything. This one is definitely for them. So those are Reitzel's words directly out of his mouth. I didn't change them at all. And I'll tell you what, he was super excited, well deserved. I mean, the guy ran a hell of a race. I don't think he could have ran a better race at all. Reitzel's victory marked the end of a drought that stretched back to 2021 as he celebrated his first win with the greatest show on dirt in 3 years. This triumph also brought his career total to 7, placing him alongside Chad Kemmenall, Brian Brown, and Jeff Seppard at 57th on the all-time win list. He became the 7th different driver to claim victory at Dirt Oval 66 with the World of Outlaws. So, building is impeccable, right? 57th. That's insane. And I wish I could.
Where have I heard that 57 before? Sounds like a white Silva car.
You think so?
Where have I heard that number from?
Yeah. A win in the Toyota Racing Dash postponed Reitzel at the front for the NOS Energy Drink feature, although Chris Wyndham starting second challenged him on the opening lap. Reitzel ultimately surged ahead of the Vermeer Motorsports number 55 to take the lead on lap 1. An early warning for Wyndham, who was experiencing issues, led to a chaotic restart with 15 laps remaining. A Gravel, who moved up to third, collided with Reitzel as the race resumed. This incident actually triggered a chain reaction, causing a pileup that ultimately left Sterling Kling and Jeff Dodge flipped over, and fortunately both drivers were unharmed. So thank God that those guys didn't get hurt. And that was a pretty crappy wreck, man. Should have seen that stuff. But neither one of them were hurt. That's a good thing. I don't like hearing about guys getting hurt at all.
Especially when you get upside down. That's the dangerous part.
Yeah, it absolutely sucks. I don't like seeing it. And I'm glad they're both okay. So, Reitzel and Gravel managed to avoid any significant damage and readied themselves for the restart. And when the green flag dropped again, a fierce contest erupted between Gravel and Carson Macedo, and the two drivers exchanged numerous slide jobs and crossovers, with Gravel eventually claiming the second position. So he didn't get the chance to take the lead away, but he came close a couple times. Now, several caution laps kept the leaders clear of traffic, and a final yellow with 7 laps to go seemed to favor Reitzel. However, he was not entirely out of danger. Reitzel competing at Dirt Oval 66 led every lap on Friday night, marking his first World of Outlaws victory since 2021. So it's been, 3 years since he's won. So, hey, well-deserved win. As the race progressed, he found himself closing on the back of the field, while Gravel maintained pace in the Big Game Motorsports number 2 with just 2 laps to go. Reitzel encountered traffic, and he was trying to work his way through. As the white flag was displayed, Gravel significantly reduced the gap as they approached turns 1 and 2. Reitzel attempted to pass a lap car in the final corners, but the slower vehicle also just moved out of the way. So, or not moved out of the way, but it also moved low. Quickly adapting, Reitzel shifted back to the top lane and slid in front of Gravel. As Reitzel caught the cushion, Gravel attempted to dive underneath, but lacked the necessary power to overtake him. Reitzel utilized the momentum from the high line to secure his first World of Outlaws victory in 1,176 days.
Just a long time
to show you how long it's actually been. I just had a lap car make an erratic lane change, Reitzel said of the final lap. I knew I needed to do something, so I hurried up and went back to the top, and I just slid into it too hard. I'm glad we came out on top of that. That would have really sucked to lose that way.
Oh yeah.
Love the wording, man. I absolutely love how these guys just show their true emotions. That's what I love about this sport. These guys just show their true emotion when they get out of the car. They cuss, they swear, they don't, and they don't go too extravagant. I mean, they're not like F this and F that, but they don't worry about hurting anybody's feelings. They just tell it like it is, and they don't care. So that's what I love about this sport. Uh, David Gravel finished second, marking his 10th runner-up position in the World of Outlaws this season. Although he was eager to secure his 15th series victory of 2024, he left the race feeling content with a solid points performance as he aims to complete his first championship. So, good night for David Gravel. Glad to see him be able to hold on to that lead. I thought we were a little bit better than Aaron there at the end, Gravel said. He really had to lean on the cushion, I thought. I felt like it was coming back to us a little bit, and obviously lap traffic was coming there. He got over the cushion on that one time, and that lap car looked like he was going high and then went low, and Aaron was going low and then he went high. I was committed to the top at that point, so I couldn't really do much from there. It was superior grip on the top of turn 3 and 4. Man, it was close. Those are Gravel's words in his interview. And completing the podium finish was Carson Macedo in the Jason Johnson Racing number 41, who achieved their series-leading 31st top 3 finish of the year. The Lemoore, California native believed the race could have taken a different turn if traffic had played a more significant role. He, referring to Gravel, was able to slide me with a big run into turn 1, Macedo explained. And man, once somebody gets by you, the top has a lot of speed. You get up there leaning on it. It was going to be tough to get back by him. It seems like we really needed traffic to kind of mix things up. When we got there, it was one of those deals where a red or a yellow would have come out. Oh man, not too bad. A little tough break for Macedo, but he's doing all right. Logan Schuchart and Sheldon Haudenschild secured positions in the top 5. Garrett Williamson, an impressive drive from 19th to 8th. 19th to 8th actually earned him his 4th KSE Racing Hard Charger Award of 2024. So, man, that's 4 this year. That's actually a pretty good achievement if you think about it.
Hi, Chuck.
Sheldon Haudenschild achieved his 8th Simpson Quick Time of the year and the 37th of his career during the Seafoam qualifying. Heats 1, 3, and 4, sponsored by NOS Energy Drink, were won by Sheldon Haudenschild, David Gravel, and Logan Schuchart, respectively, while Carson Macedo took the victory in Milton Hershey School Heat 2. So those are our heat race winners. Aaron Reisel emerged victorious in the Toyota Racing Dash, obviously because he started on the pole. And Brock Zierfoss claimed the victory in the Microlight Last Chance Showdown, otherwise known as the B-Main. So I really don't care for how they call it the Last Chance Showdown.
I guess I'm more of a traditional guy. At the same time, it does seem a little weird.
I don't know, man. It just sounds a little too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not my series, so, hey, more power to them. And the Smith Titanium Brake Systems break of the race was awarded to Buddy Kofoid. Feature results, I'll run through them really quick. NOS Energy Drink feature, 25 laps. First, Aaron Reisel. Second, David Gravel. Third, Carson Macedo. Fourth, Logan Schuchart. Fifth, Sheldon Haudenschild. Sixth, Donnie Schatz. Seventh, Giovanni Selzy. Eighth, Garrett Williamson. Ninth, Bill Balog. 10th, Skylar G. 11th, Emerson Axum. 12th, Zach Hampton. 13th, Landon Crawley. 14th, Scott Bogucki. I forgot how to pronounce his name.
That's a funny name.
I forgot how to pronounce his name. I think I said it right. I'm pretty sure I said it right. But 15th, Dylan Cisney. 16th, Bryce Lucius. 17th, Ayrton Geniton. 18th, Danny Sams. 19th, Kerry Madsen. 20th, Chris Wyndham. 21st, Sterling Kling. 22nd, Jeff Dodge. 23rd, Michael Buddy Kofoid. And 24th, Brock Zierfoss. So that does it for night number 1. This was a 2-day show they had at Dirt 66. So now night number 2. Remember, 23rd. Who finished 23rd just a minute ago in night number 2? Now his night completely turned around on night number 2, and Buddy Kofoid and the Roth Motorsports team activated a new level of performance 2 months ago, and they have no plans to slow down. So, I mean, they've just flipped a switch. I can't believe the speed that they found in that car. You know, good job to them. Good job to Buddy driving. I mean, he's driving his ass off this year, and he's doing a great job. The team arrived at Dirt Oval 66 for the Federated Auto Parts Route 66 showdown, riding a wave of momentum, boasting 5 victories and 12 podium finishes in the last 14 races. Unfortunately, mechanical issues cut their night short before it even began on Friday. However, Kofoid and his team returned with renewed determination on Saturday night. The Pengrove, California native started in second position for the 30-lap main event, overtook Sheldon Haudenschild on the first lap, and successfully fended off Haudenschild's late race challenge to clinch his 7th World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car win this season. So 7 wins, man. Awesome job by Buddy, and this in his rookie year with the Outlaws at
That's
that.
pretty
So
impressive.
that's pretty damn good. My Roth Motorsports crew guys are unbelievable, Kofoid said. Like I've said, this is the most fun I've ever had racing and the best I've ever felt in any race car. Like I always say, that's just a testament to Dylan Buswell and his talent and making me a better driver. And then I feel like Nate Knotts and Gage Tyra just compliment him really well. It just shows what it's like to be with good people. So oh man, I don't know what to say. I mean, this kid he's on a roll, man, and I'm happy to see that. I remember when he started, had to bounce from ride to ride and ride. Just took him a while to find a good home, but I think he's really found a good fit with Roth Motorsports, man. And I'm excited to see what they do next season. Kofoid's 7th victory of 2024 marks a significant milestone, bringing his career total to 10 and making him 50th driver in history of the greatest show on dirt to achieve double-digit victories. This achievement places him alongside Danny Smith and Joe Gertie on the all-time win list and ranks him as the 9th most successful driver from California. Roth Motorsports has now accumulated a total of 114 checkered flags in the World of Outlaws series. That's not wins, or that is, could be, yeah. What am I thinking? I don't know what I'm thinking. My head's not straight right now. Kofoid celebrates at Dirt 66 in recent weeks. Buddy Kofoid and the Roth Motorsports team have emerged as one of the fastest competitors on the World of Outlaws circuit. And the main event commenced with Haudenschild leading the pack with Kofoid positioned alongside him. Haudenschild initially surged ahead in the first 2 corners, but Kofoid quickly gained momentum, executing a move down the back straightaway and skillfully maneuvered beneath the NOS Energy Drink number 17 as they approached turn 3, completing the pass to take the lead on the opening lap. Now, as the race resumed, with 18 laps remaining, the action intensified with fierce battles unfolding throughout the field. Gravel managed to overtake Haudenschild for second, but Haudenschild retaliated with a slider. Gravel, however, reclaimed the position and successfully defended against Haudenschild's attempt to retake it. Now, they were going back and forth. And they were putting on a good show. That was cool to see that. During a restart at the halfway mark, Donnie Schatz entered the fray, moving past Haudenschild to secure third, and it kind of stunk for Sheldon there. But numerous yellow flags actually prompted a series of restarts, with drivers eager to take advantage of the situation. And Haudenschild began his ascent back toward the front as he discovered some traction on the lower part of the track. So move low and go fast. Utilizing the low line, Haudenschild advanced to third place on lap 26 and then secured the second position with just 2 laps to go. However, time was not on his side as Kofoid successfully defended against Haudenschild's final attempt to overtake him in turns 3 and 4, preventing him from getting around. So the exit of 4 was just really wide earlier in the race. Kofoid said, "I could fire off good and get to the top, and I was able to diamond under Sheldon's slider and kind of control the race. I was nervous with all the yellows. I didn't want to see that one with, I think, 2 to go. I couldn't see my guys well, but they weren't telling me I was doing anything wrong. I didn't want to choose the outside or fire on the outside and try to take the long way around because I feel like there was just so much meat on the front stretch on the bottom to take off on. Then it was just a matter of getting on the top and not tripping on the cushion." So, nice choice of words there. Said there was meat on the bottom of the track. I've never heard it explained that way before.
That's definitely a new one for me. I haven't heard
Yeah.
that either. A lot of meat down there. That's kind of interesting.
Haudenschild and the Stenhouse Junior Marshall Racing Team secured a second place finish. As the race progressed, he grew increasingly at ease with the handling of his vehicle, but ultimately he ran out of time to complete the task of winning the race. Being able to move around and find the bottom there in 3 and 4, Haudenschild said of what helped his late surge, "I feel like I was getting better the more fuel I burned off and was able to rotate down there. But Buddy was really good all night long. I couldn't keep up with him there the first 10 to 15 laps. The restarts were really hard starting on the outside as well. Happy with this weekend, a second and a fifth." So, hey, that's really pretty humble of Sheldon. I like how Sheldon talks, and he's a pretty humble kid. So, completing the podium, though, was Gravel and the Big Game Motorsports team as they persist in their pursuit of a championship. The Watertown, Connecticut native has now achieved 30 podium finishes in the World of Outlaws this season, marking the 4th occasion he has reached this milestone. His lead in the standings has increased to 78 points with 5 races remaining. Man, I could not get a good restart behind him, single file on the bottom, Gravel said. I just would start spinning and then hit the grip, and I don't know what just happened.
I think your camera went down.
That's all right. I'll just keep going. I would just start spinning and then hit the grip and just not get down the front stretch very good. Then I was kind of in defense going into turn 1, where I kind of wanted to attack. Definitely didn't want to see that caution because I feel like we were coming, and I think lap traffic would have benefited us. So
we're experiencing some technical difficulties.
That's all right. As long as you can hear me, I'm good.
I can still hear you. Just can't see you. It's a black screen.
That's all good. As long as you can hear me, I'll fix that later.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'll fix that during your time.
All right.
So Donnie Schatz and Carson Macedo secured positions in the top 5 as well. Dylan Cisney, driving the Bill Rose Racing number 6, made an impressive climb from 23rd to 11th, earning the KSE Racing Hard Charger Award. So I'm not sure if that was Cisney's first time or second time driving that car for Rose. Anyway, Kofoid achieved his 6th Simpson Quick Time of 2024, marking the 11th of his career during Seafoam qualifying. The NOS Energy Drink heats were claimed by Buddy Kofoid, Emerson Axum, and Zach Hampton in heats 1, 3, and 4, respectively, while Carson Macedo took the victory in Milton Hershey School Heat 2. So, oh man, I'm trying to scroll through here. Sheldon Haudenschild emerged victorious in the Toyota Racing Dash, and Darren Nida triumphed in the Microlight Last Chance Showdown. So that's pretty much it for that. Oh, and the Smith Titanium Brake Systems break of the race was awarded to Bill Baylog. So I'll go through the results here after I get them popped up. There we go. Once I get them scrolled up here. NOS Energy Drink feature 30 laps this time. First, Buddy Kofoid. Second, Sheldon Haudenschild. Third, David Gravel. Fourth, Donnie Schatz. Fifth, Carson Macedo. Sixth, Giovanni Scelzi. Seventh, Logan Schuchart. Eighth, Brock Zierfaust. Ninth, Emerson Axum. 10th, Chris Windham. 11th, the 6th of Dylan Cisney. 12th, Garrett Williamson. 13th, Bill Baylog. 14th, Skylar G. 15th, Landon Crawley. 16th, Danny Sams. 17th, Scott Bugucki. And 18th, Darren Nida. 19th, Craig Kinzer. 20th, Riley Goodnow. 21st, Kerry Madsen. 22nd, Blake Nemi. 23rd, Zach Hampton. And 24th, Aaron Reitzel. So, man, what a way for the Knights to reverse like that. I mean, Reitzel going from dominating night number 1 to finishing dead last in night number 2, and Kofoid finishing 23rd and having a crappy night the first night to winning the second night. I mean, it's just, man, that's amazing how that worked out. I've never seen that before. So, but and my last little bit here in the World of Outlaws, NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars will make their long-awaited return to the Riverside International Speedway in West Memphis, Arkansas on October 25th and 26th, which is this weekend, marking their first appearance at the venue in 6 years. So that's going to be exciting to watch this weekend. And as anticipated with the conclusion of the Kubota High Limit Sprint Car season, confirmations regarding team changes are beginning to surface. Oh, man. Where did I leave off? Okay. Last Wednesday, we received news that had been expected for some time, and it was already clear that the CJB team would undergo significant changes for 2025. And following the announcement that Barry Jackson would be stepping back from his role on the road, Ty Wolfgang is set to transition from his position as car chief at Casey Kane Racing to assume the role of crew chief for CJB. And the next major question revolves around the driver. And at least part of that has now actually been clarified, as CJB announced yesterday that Spencer Baston will be departing after 3 seasons with the team. Baston joined CJB in late 2021, and they competed as a full-time outlaw team in both 22 and 23, securing 2 outlaw victories in their first year and 1 in the second, yet finishing 8th in the standings for both seasons. Then they shifted to high limit for 24, but this did not lead to any improved performance, as they again finished 8th without any wins. Amazing. 3 8th place finishes in a row. With this split, though, it is important to note that significant changes occurring within CJB's plans. There has been a prevailing belief that Justin Peck would take over his seat. And referring back to some earlier communications, the first mention of Peck joining CJB dates back to late July, and by early September, it was widely regarded as a foregone conclusion. Even as recently as this past weekend at Texas Motor Speedway, Peck believed everything was still on track. But, however, there may have been complications regarding sponsorship, and another driver has emerged as a contender in the process. It seems unlikely that CJB will announce the new driver immediately, as a few details are still being finalized. This development, though, is sure to surprise many. Since the announcement of Baston's departure, I've been monitoring social media, and I've yet to see anyone actually speculate on who the new driver will be. The familiar names that are frequently arise, including Justin Sanders, Chase Randall, and Danny Sams, along with Emerson Axsom. However, these are not the names currently being discussed. Regarding the situation with Baston, many of you have come across rumors suggesting he will take over Corey Day's position in the Jason Myers owned number 14 car, and the speculation is that Day may reduce his involvement in full-time sprint car racing, prompting Myers to seek a replacement. So, but while this scenario is actually still indeed material, or could still indeed materialize, I'm not convinced it is as certain as some believe. I have numerous contacts within the NASCAR community, and I have yet to receive any definitive information regarding Day's plans and schedule for 2025. Until those details are confirmed, I doubt Myers will make any decisions. Therefore, while Baston remains a possibility, I believe this situation is still evolving, and additionally, I have heard that Baston may be considered for other opportunities, including a ride that was active in 23 but has since become unavailable for 24. The current sprint car silly season is becoming increasingly complex with numerous developments unfolding, and we have previously discussed the situation surrounding the Routine 26, which continues to evolve. With Justin Peck now available, he is likely to be actively seeking a new deal this week despite the time constraints, and he is participating in the Trophy Cup at Tulare alongside Clayton Snow, and it wouldn't be surprising if he has several meetings scheduled in the coming days, as he has been making numerous calls. Additionally, we mentioned earlier this week the second entry for Roth Motorsports, and it has been confirmed that Ryan Timms will be driving a Roth car for the Trophy Cup. Now, we had hinted at this possibility a couple of weeks ago, if you remember correctly, and he is a strong contender for that position and potentially others in 25. Chase Randall is also on the market for a new ride after leaving TKS a few weeks back. Reports are suggesting that he comes with sponsorship, making it hard to believe that teams wouldn't consider him. And furthermore, there are indications that Chris Windom is assessing his options, as he raced full-time with Vermeer Motorsports this year under the High Limit banner, but the team faced challenges, finishing 15th in the standings with only 10 top 10 finishes. Not a great season for Vermeer with Chris Windom in that 55 car, which sucks to see, but they'll make it up. This discussion does not even cover other topics we've previously mentioned, such as Brent Marks possibly stepping back from racing, uncertainties surrounding Parker Price Miller, and various series decisions. Crew changes are also anticipated, with one leading driver potentially collaborating with a new car chief or new crew chief next season. The situation remains highly dynamic, with developments occurring rapidly, and I initially expected this year to be somewhat subdued, but especially after the events of 2023, and the activity has intensified significantly. So crazy stuff we've got going on. I just can't believe all the stuff we have going on in the sprint car season, let alone NASCAR. So, but keep going here. If I could find my, there it is. The roster of drivers associated with TKS Motorsports is set to expand once more. For the upcoming World Finals, Corey Eliason will take the wheel of the 2KS sprint car during the four-day event. And currently, Eliason is in search of a ride after competing in 2024 with the Ridge team on the high limit circuit. However, Ridge is scaling down to a single car for next season, which may open the door for Aaron Reitzel to become a full-time driver with high limit. Over the past weekend, Eliason participated in the Trophy Cup driving for Rod Tyner, where he secured victory in the Friday preliminary and finished 11th in the Trophy Cup finale. Danny Sams recently drove the TKS car at Joliet with the Outlaws, finishing 18th and 16th in the two features, although his performance on Friday was promising before taking a downturn. Since Chase Randall departed from the 2KS car a few months ago, the team has seen drivers such as Kelby Watt, Hunter Schoenberg, Danny Sams, and now Corey Eliason behind the wheel. There were initially concerns regarding the composition of the World Finals sprint car field, especially with High Limit concluding its season and several teams potentially opting not to travel to Charlotte. However, it appears that many have confirmed their participation for the event in a few weeks. In addition to the full-time Outlaws, Eliason and TKS will be joined by Ryan Timms in the Liebherr 10, Baston in the JMR 14, and Flea Ruzick, who has mentioned their version 2 sprint car featuring Sammy Swindell. This is just a glimpse of what we can expect with still a few weeks remaining before that event. So that's my whole spiel. And I have gone through it. Tried to get it done quickly so you could move on with your stuff.
So I mean, I've got a lot of stuff has happened since our last episode. I believe it was last Wednesday. We're gonna start off with I guess we'll call it the elephant in the room. NASCAR late last week announced that they're preparing for 32 charters rather than the normal 36, which has led people to believe that it is going to be all the people that signed the charter agreement and 2311 and Front Row Motorsports are going to lose their charters at the end of this year. They have filed in court to
preliminary injunction.
A preliminary injunction to keep their teams or keep their charters, but not get paid as much, basically so they can race full time next year. And with the way things have looked, it doesn't look like NASCAR is going to grant them that. But it's definitely going to be very interesting as next month this goes to court, and we will see who wins. If they're gonna side with NASCAR, or if they're going to side with 2311 and Front Row that NASCAR is trying to monopolize the sport. Honestly, I feel like it's going to be in NASCAR's favor because NASCAR has ended up quoting some of the things that 2311 and Front Row have brought up and turned it back around on them, which in the NASCAR's argument, I can see it. At the same time, I can also see 2311's argument along with Front Row's. I still feel like NASCAR has the upper hand in the evidence that has been shown. But that was prior to this week's race. Going into this week's race, after Alex Bowman was disqualified for being too light at Charlotte Roval, we had Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Brian Blaney, Chase Elliott, and Tyler Reddick are the remaining 8 who have a chance to move on to the Final Four. With Alex Bowman being disqualified, it brought Logano into the next round. And anybody who's been following the stats on Joey Logano in even years, there's been a pattern. Every year that has ended with an even number, he has made it to the championship 4. And I believe he won the championship on an even number also. I believe it was 2018. He has 3 or 4 Final Four appearances all of them being on even years, and we'll get to that here shortly because the pattern unfortunately did continue. Which I say that only because it was a little bit shady that he got moved on and immediately went on to the championship four the very next week. It almost gave him second life, but I'll catch flack for that later. But let's talk about the race. Great racing early on, some wild racing in stage two. Tyler Reddick, as he did last week, won stage one at Las Vegas, and then immediately after winning stage one, I believe he came down pit road and got a 4-tire stop and was charging through the field. And we're not sure if Martin Truex Jr. got tight or aero tight or whatever it was, but he ended up getting into Chase Elliott, who ended up pinching a hard charging Tyler Reddick into the outside wall. They all spin to the infield, and Tyler Reddick ends up catching the infield grass. Notice it's not turf. He caught the grass and slid onto the quarter mile in the infield, which, because it's grass, they've still got the divot. And when he hit the quarter mile track, the car ended up rolling over. I am not going to say that it is the next gen car's fault in this instance. Yes, we have seen way too many cars roll over with the next gen car. I am going to credit there being a divot where the quarter mile track is that caused that car to roll over. There is no need for there to be that much of a difference between the track surface and the grass. That's my opinion. If they're going to have a quarter mile track in the infield, do it like Charlotte, where you have to have AstroTurf in the infield, because this ramping through the infield like you're driving through Dukes of Hazzard is not necessary in NASCAR anymore, especially with these cars being so prone to rolling over. Thankfully, Tyler Reddick rolled back onto all fours, did a single barrel roll, and drove it right back to the pit stall. Unfortunately, the car was too damaged to continue, as he broke, I think it was something in the left front suspension, was unable to finish the race. He ended up finishing the race, I believe it was 33rd. With that same incident, Chase Elliott was also, he wasn't eliminated from the race via the damaged vehicle policy, but he was unable to finish the race due to damage sustained in that crash. Ryan Blaney ended up finishing 32nd. They had, I believe it was some sort of motor issue. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He was involved in that crash when Truex spun across the track. He ended up spinning back across, and I believe he caught Brad Keselowski, who just happened to get just enough of him to pinch him into the outside wall and end up causing him to spin down into, I believe it was turn one. There was a lot of playoff drivers involved in one instance. Towards the end of the race, strategy played into Joey Logano's hands. They made a great call and got him out front. Unfortunately, sorry, my thing is giving me issues. Unfortunately, with the strategy that Christopher Bell played, had a great race going, had to come down pit road, and I feel like he was held up just a little bit. Had a great race going. Christopher Bell had a little bit of a hold up in lap traffic. They were projected to catch Joey Logano with 4 to 5 laps to go, and it came down to, I'm going to say, mere tenths of a second. He was a whole second back with 1 lap to go and ended up coming up, I think it was about 0.2 of a second short of catching Joey Logano and passing him. Great charge by Christopher Bell. I am shocked that he did not win that race. He definitely had to deal with some lap traffic. But to charge from basically a lap down, 5 seconds back to catching Joey Logano coming to the checkered is quite a feat, in my opinion. But, I mean, with Joey Logano, he got really, really close.
Or the free pass or whatever you want to call it now, though.
So. Yes. but it was quite impressive that he tracked down Joey Logano as quickly as he did. It was rather impressive. Um, but currently with the playoff field after Vegas, I gotta pull it up now. Currently with post Vegas, Joey Logano has advanced to the championship for the fourth time in even years. Um, Second is Christopher Bell, obviously, because he was dominant up till that point. He actually, I believe, he won stage two. I believe. I have to confirm that later on. Not Tyler Reddick. Kyle Larson is third. William Byron is on the cutoff in fourth. He is 27 points to the good. Currently, for what seems to be the third round in a row, on the outside looking in after race one, Denny Hamlin, along with Tyler Reddick, who is 30 points back. Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott is 53 points back post Vegas, which is definitely a shakeup for what I thought it was going to be. For, I'm going to say, at least a quarter of the four that are on the outside looking in. Ryan Blaney, I feel like he's been right around seventh place all year, so I don't feel like that's much of a drop for him. Obviously, Chase Elliott has been down there too. I'm not so sure that Denny Hamlin can make it out of this round. Obviously, he's shown us the last two rounds that he is able to somehow advance after a horrible first race to make it on to the next round. But so is Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson has managed to basically do what Denny Hamlin has done the last two rounds, but do it better because he's above the cut line, which is, should say something in itself. I personally am not a big Kyle Larson fan, but at the same time, you can't deny the fact that Denny Hamlin has had these same problems that he has, where he's absolutely had a miserable first race and managed to make it up in the other two races enough to advance to the next round. Denny Hamlin somehow has managed to end up on the outside looking in the last two rounds after the round of 16, round of 12, or now we're to the round of 8, and he's already on the outside for the third time this playoffs. If he manages to point his way in, great. Unfortunately, when it comes to the next two races, he is going to be in a must-win situation when it comes to Martinsville because he's really not that good when it comes to Homestead, in my opinion. My picks for being, either locking in by win or locking in by points, it's going to come down to either Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, or Christopher Bell. Those dirt guys seem to have a way with Homestead. Christopher Bell is obviously the defending winner of this race. And obviously Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson had their incident last year where, it ended up knocking Kyle Larson out of the top four in points. I don't even think he advanced last year. I don't remember, though. I have to go back and look. But last year we had Ryan Blaney end up winning the championship after the incident on pit road, which is, I'm not going to say is ironic because, that happens. It's a racing incident. It is kind of interesting how it happened, but, you can't speculate on that. But outside of preparing for Homestead this week, there has been some, we're going to say, odd NASCAR news here and there. I'm not sure why it took so long, but it took 71, took almost 50 years to crown Bobby Allison as the 1971 Bowman winner, which I thought was a very odd.
I saw an article about that, but I didn't get a chance to actually do any research on that. So what was that all about?
And it was a, I don't know if it was Pan American or some sort of other touring series. Like, I guess a good way to put it is you've got the IMSA, for the people who know the sports car racing. We've got the, the Can-Am or the Pan Am, whatever they call it, series where they run a different type of car than the IMSA WeatherTech series. From what I'm getting, is it was a different series that NASCAR had allowed to run with the Grand National Series, and Bobby Allison ended up winning the race. They gave him the trophy and the paycheck, but he was never credited the win until what was it, Wednesday? Or no, it was uh, yesterday. They finally granted him the win. So it is kind of cool. It says 53 years later, they're finally crediting Bobby Allison the win at Bowman Gray, which is kind of cool, given the fact that Bowman Gray is now the Clash. So that is definitely one of the bigger stories. Another big story, and I'm sure all the junior fans' ears are about to perk up right now. The Bud number 8 is back. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this, I thought it was fake.
And not just the Bud number 8 is back. It's the
The
Bud
Bud
number
8.
8.
Like it's not, just somebody give it a throwback. Dale Jr. is back in the Budweiser number 8. I believe it's for the Winchester 500? Not
I don't
500.
remember what race
I
it was
forget
gonna
exactly what race it is, but he's doing some sort of uh, Cars Tour Series race with the Budweiser number 8. And the merch I have seen for this is absolutely insane. The nostalgia comes back almost immediately
Oh,
when you see
they
these
have
photos.
diecasts
It's
already.
the
You could
coolest thing I think
pre-order.
I've
I
seen
mean,
since those
oh
days. I mean, the
man,
last time I saw the
fans.
Budweiser 8, probably that looks like this. This looks like the 2004 version to me, because obviously he ran it all the way up to like 2006. I will say that this car gives me so many memories that it is kind of cool.
It's gonna sell out. Everything
I,
is gonna sell out,
I'm pretty
guaranteed.
sure this will be the hottest diecast Lionel will sell all year. Last year they had the Kevin Harvick cars sell out or be their biggest seller. I'm pretty sure Dale Jr. is going to blow that number out of the water without even trying. That might be the hottest diecast we see up till December 31st of this year, because you ain't going to be able to top that. I don't care if we get, say Denny Hamlin does win the championship. There is no way that you're going to outsell that car.
No,
Not even, don't even bother. There's no way that car does not outsell. I am ecstatic that
that's
it's coming
gonna.
back. I'm not gonna say I'm the biggest junior fan, but the fact that that car is back does give you some sort of excitement. Even if you
I'm.
aren't a giant junior fan, the nostalgia from being around that time is just
I'll tell you what.
electrifying. I'm
My opinion.
ecstatic about it.
This is gonna be one of the hottest selling diecast cars in the history.
I'm getting excited just to see it, remotely come back. I mean, the shirts I've seen alone, they did an Amp Energy style shirt with the Budweiser car on it. And I'll tell you, some of these things are looking really cool. Like they have the old school Dale Jr. carbon fiber black helmet
And
for
it's
sale.
nice.
Those
It's
things look awesome.
it's nice to see the number back on the door
Uh,
rather than on the
especially with
fender.
especially with the rule or with the news of SVG's number for next year. And I'm not even going to go into detail on that because I think it's the dumbest thing I've seen. But
Uh,
with SVG being
you know
the
what?
88 next year, this was the right move for Dale Jr. to go to the number 8 with Budweiser. I am so thankful that they were able to make this happen, because it might bring way more attention to the Cars Tour than it will for NASCAR. And
Oh,
that's a crazy
absolutely.
thought.
This is gonna sell tickets, man, and that stadium is
If
gonna
if
be
they thought
packed.
going to North Wilkesboro was going to sell out, being a Cars Tour race, wait till you go to this race and see nothing but Dale Jr. Budweiser shirts.
This
This will
is
give you the
going.
old school 2004 vibes all over again.
This
Junior
is
Nation has awoken, and it's getting rowdy.
this is going to be right up there along with the time that he ran the number 3 car in the Xfinity series.
I am going to say that it probably will be almost equivalent, if not more, because we haven't seen a beer sponsor like this iconic, since that car went away. I mean, there really is. I mean, we've always had the silver bullet with the Chip Ganassi Racing, but there is
Yeah,
no paint scheme more iconic
and
than that red number 8 Budweiser car.
that was probably one of the goofiest things that Anheuser Busch ever did was to switch the Budweiser car to the Busch Light car,
Honestly,
and they
I'm
did that
not
with
sure
Kevin
why they did
Harvick.
it, but there was a lot of iconic beer schemes, like the Silver Bullet. That was an iconic scheme back from when I first started racing. The Budweiser car. Who doesn't know the red number 8 Budweiser car? I
Oh,
mean,
do you remember when it was the red 25 car with Ricky Craven?
even then, I believe it was the number 11 when Darrell Waltrip ran. I mean, there's this Budweiser, sponsorship goes way back, but we haven't had anything this iconic in NASCAR in what feels like forever. And this is something huge.
Another iconic one was the Miller Lite 12 car
Yes.
back with Allison.
And then we had the Miller Lite number 2 for Rusty Wallace. I mean, this
Hmm.
gives this is
Well,
almost like taking NASCAR back to its roots.
That was Miller Genuine Draft, and then
That's what I meant. Yeah.
they brought the Miller Light car back with Brad. Well, no, they did that with Rusty.
They did blue with Kurt Busch and Brad
Yeah,
Keselowski.
that's right. They brought Miller Lite back with right there towards the end of Rusty Wallace's career,
Yeah.
and they just stuck with it from then on.
I'm super excited about this. Like, this was a big deal. I've seen talk about this all over. This might be the biggest thing that has come up in news lately, and it's got me really excited about it. Like, I usually don't pay attention to the car store stuff. Like, I hate saying it this way, but it took the Kevin Harvick and Keelan Harvick joining Rackley Roofing Racing and threw it out the window. Like, you want to see me one up, a father son duo with a Truck Series team? Watch this. And they announced this car. It's almost, and I don't want to make it sound like this, but it is almost like it. Like, if we thought the broadcast wars were bad with NASCAR changing broadcast providers, Fox just got blown out of the water by whatever Broadcast Junior is about to do. If Amazon Prime takes on Dale Jr. as their commentator, you can forget about Fox being worth anything because they just blew them away with the most popular driver. I mean, this is going to be massive. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm forgetting NASCAR wise, but those were my big ones that I came up
Well,
with so far.
here's something that I found fishy in NASCAR was how Logano made it into this round by
Eliminated and then disqualified to get in.
Hendrick just saying, "Oh, we're not going to appeal the disqualification of the 48 car because it was something we could have avoided." That just and they came out with that right away.
I
Within a day or two, and
When they specified later on,
but
I
there's
can
clear
understand
evidence.
why, but at the same time, I don't agree with them not, appealing it. At the same time, it was kind of a generic, we screwed up, we're going to accept that thing. They
Okay,
cut the
well,
tone
but they
too close
didn't.
with their excuse, and I don't exactly believe that.
They did. What did they use for their excuse? Because I didn't hear it.
They said something along the lines of, we know what the tolerance was and we cut it too close.
Okay, what did you screw up? Let everybody know because it just seems a little fishy. Like you took a
It's
damn payoff
there was
from Penske so Logano could get in. That's what it
it's
seems like.
it does seem like that a little bit.
Because of the simple fact that there is video evidence from in-car cameras
Of stuff falling
behind
off, yes.
behind Bowman of things falling off of the car. So if that's the case, then that they could have won that appeal.
From what I understand, they were only 17 pounds light. That little chunk
So they
of
were
whatever
right.
came
They were
off there,
right on the tolerance.
I don't know if that's the
So
exact number. From what I've heard, it was 17 pounds light, which I can't guarantee that that's exactly what it was. But from what I've got from reading the articles, they were just over the limit. They cut it basically. They cut the tolerance too close, and it ended up making them 17 pounds light. I don't know exactly how that works or if that was exactly what they were off. But Hendrick Motorsports did not appeal. It put Joey Logano in, and interestingly enough, the very next race he locks in. That does seem very fishy to me. I'm not going to say that it, you know, is done shady. At the same time, it is very
no,
convenient
I'm not.
that
I'm not
he's
accusing
eliminated and
them.
immediately gets in. Yes,
I'm
I
not
understand what
actually
you mean.
accusing them of it because that's not what this is about. This
Yeah,
they
I'm not
are.
accusing people either.
I'm just stating a fact that
Yeah,
why it looks fishy. I'm not accusing
yes,
them of
and
doing
that's what I'm
anything.
getting at with that. Also, is
It's
it is
just
very shady.
that's just what our job is to give our opinion. That's what this show is
Yes,
about, and
I
the
mean
way we see things,
at the
and
same
I've
time,
seen others talk about that already.
I want to issue that disclaimer that is just our thoughts on it. Just like the Joe Gibbs Racing engineer selling out private setup information. I mean, the evidence is there that performance has changed. And I got in an argument with somebody at the track over this. These cars are identical. If you take the wrap off, other than the front nose, everything from that front clip to that rear diffuser is all the same. The only thing
And
that's different is the body molding. And technically, the wind tunnel stuff really doesn't make a difference. I
and
mean,
I'm
it really
sorry, but
doesn't, in my
this
opinion.
and also with what was it, Ryan Blaney crashing and hurt. What was he talking about, having a headache or something in the race
Yeah.
because his head was bouncing around in the headrest. That's exactly what was said earlier in the week when I was
See,
watching
I
some
missed that. Or
podcasts.
I missed that part of it.
I'm telling you, this car hasn't gotten any better from the last change they made where the rear bumper would crush in a little bit. I'm telling you what, this car is not what they thought it was going to be. Yes,
I'm
they could.
going to debate that one only because, and I'm not saying that it hasn't gotten better. That
This
impact,
car absolutely sucks, Nathan.
oh yes, yes it does. When it comes to the impact with Ryan Blaney, I think it was Brad Keselowski, got just enough of him to cause damage. He was against the wall and got hit. So if you think about it, if you're right against the wall and you got hit, even that little bit of, rebound off the wall into Brad and back into the wall, that may be very little on camera, but inside the car, that is a pretty significant, very bang bang hit. I can understand the headache from that because it happened so quick that it wasn't like in the replay, you don't think he got hit. It's so sudden, you know, off Brad, off the wall, back off the wall, that it's almost hard to catch it at first. On first glance, I thought he missed him. When I first watched the replay, I thought that he cleared Brad. It was that close. But if you listen, you do hear him get hit by Brad, hit the wall, and come ricocheting off and spinning. And that's what I didn't catch the first time. And I didn't hear about the headache thing until now. But that is something that is very possible with how quick that impact was and how, quick the incident was. Definitely could cause that headache. I'm no doctor. Obviously, don't come to me for medical advice. But that is something realistic with
truth?
that.
Dude,
but when it comes to the setup stuff, the car front to back is all the same. Even though they said they improved the rear end,
this entire
they're all
car
universal.
Sucks.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says. This car is absolute garbage.
Yes.
The I don't like the sequential shifting. It
I feel like
takes
it takes a
the
lot of
talent
talent
out
out
of
of it.
everything.
Single lugs, I feel like it takes the talent out. That's what separated us from a lot of
Sequential
people.
shifters take the talent out of it. Transaxles are just trash anyways. They're just nothing but a pain in the ass, and they are so fragile to certain things. I mean, they're junk. I don't like transaxles in an everyday car, let alone a race car. You know,
It's definitely
and the
not
bodies
something that I agree with these cars. There's a lot
the
of things I would change, but I'm
the
not NASCAR. I
bodies
never
are
listen.
freaking junk. I mean, I'm okay with it being carbon fiber stuff, but just the aerodynamics just suck because this aero blocking gets really, really boring and old real fast.
Yes.
You know, you can hardly.
I almost want to call it vehicular warfare because at that point you make one move and you can screw your competitors up.
Well, look at back in the day when we had what they called the Twisted Sister. You know, the old car before they started the next gen cars and shit. When Kyle Busch pulled out a line the other day at, what was it, Vegas or wherever, or not Vegas, but
oh, I know, Talladega.
Yeah, when he pulled out a line,
he dropped like a rock.
Look, he went back to what, 19th place from 4th.
Yes,
I mean, yeah,
nobody went with him.
Back in the day, he would have fell back, but not that fast. I mean, he pulled out like. I mean, he pulled it out a little too early, though, coming out of 2 or whatnot. But
he pulled out going down the backstretch.
But
he wasn't
still,
even a turn
man,
3.
I mean, and the other thing that hurt him, though, too, is the fact that he's just not being able to get things done here the last 2 or 3 years.
I am very surprised with Kyle Busch's results.
If that would have been Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Dale Sr. or Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, guys like that back in the day, at least 3 or 4 guys would have went up there with him.
Yeah.
But that team's lackluster performance is what's killing them.
I wonder if they had somebody else's setup in that week.
And I'm sorry, but that
I still question that.
In my opinion, that team now is actually killing Kyle Busch's reputation as well.
I'm not going to lie, he seems way different. The Kyle Busch that we all know, I've seen interviews this year, and it's almost like he's so mellow, it's not Kyle.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about the fact that the team just sucks.
And I think that's playing a role in it. This is not the Kyle that, the rest of NASCAR knows. Kyle's got that fiery side. It's almost like, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is not the Kyle we're used to seeing, where
his morale seems down.
And the stuff is that's exactly what I'm looking for. Is I couldn't think of the word I wanted to use.
Yeah, his morale. I mean, I'm glad that he's mellow, and that's fine. He needs to keep that up. But still,
he doesn't have that fire, and that's what worries me. He doesn't have that fire anymore. Like you would think he'd at least be able to do something. These cars cannot, do what he wants to do or what he's capable of doing.
He's on the verge of having the first season ever in 20 years without winning a race.
I want to make the analogy of it this way. Kyle Busch started out in pretty high quality equipment with Hendrick Motorsports. Went to another high quality team with Joe Gibbs Racing for an extended amount of time.
Like 18 years.
Gets over to RCR, has, I'm going to call it mediocre tier equipment, because RCR with, Tyler Reddick was great. Not so much with the other team. They sucked, even though the number's iconic. We get to the very following year, and now both teams suck. I mean, they struggled with, performance towards the end of last season, but not this bad. I mean, he's got 3 races to win a race this year, otherwise go winless for the first time in a season ever.
I just cannot.
I can't picture that.
I can't understand what is bringing this team down and making them so bad. I mean, they have one of the most talented drivers, a two-time champion, in the seat of that car, and they just cannot get the job done.
I'm starting to wonder, and I know that it's not similar whatsoever, but I can't help but think: are we starting to see the Michael Waltrip age in Kyle Busch, not Kyle Larson? I can't talk tonight. When it comes to Kyle Busch, think about it. Before he had a family, Michael Waltrip was pretty decent. Then you get all this family stuff, and his performance sucked. I mean, straight up, dog crap. Now that he's focusing on Brexton's racing and focusing on his family life, I feel like his performance has gone down. I mean, for example, with Jimmie Johnson, yes, he has 7 championships. But back in his prime, before he had a family and, worry about his kids every single week once they got older, he started not being as good. As he got older, wasn't as good.
And we saw that with guys like Harvick too.
Yes.
Once his kids started growing older and stuff
Their
like that, he
performance
started
dropping
scaling
off.
back.
So I mean, we can have the comparison of Michael Waltrip. He followed the same sort of path. Jimmie Johnson, same path. Kyle Busch only started 2 years after Jimmie Johnson started in the Cup Series.
We ought to do. We should do an episode strictly on this in the off season once everything's done. That way we have some stuff to talk about. But we see this with guys a lot.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I've seen this plenty over the years, and like I said, I've got 12, 13 years on you, so I've been around this a little bit longer. And I've seen this with quite a few guys where they go from nothing to lose to building a family and a career and a life to having everything to lose. So they hold back and they start to settle down more.
And I mean,
and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that at all. But
Jeff Gordon, he's in that boat. He was great till he started having a family, and you watched his performance drop off. Now, I will say that the chase and the playoff grids screwed him over. If we were still in the old point system, I guarantee he would have way more championships than just 4. But I cannot credit it to just that being the reason that his performance dropped off and he doesn't have more championships. And I do feel like it falls along the same lines. It's almost stereotyped. Raise a family, your performance starts to drop off. At the same time,
Kevin Harvick too, because Harvick would have had more championships than just one because of how many times he went into this bullshit chase leading the points. And if they would have stuck with the old point system, he would have won it.
Well, heck, if we went with one single point series, Martin Truex Jr., a single time champion, could have had at least 2 or 3. I mean, how many times has he gone in as a regular season champion and ended up losing? I think it was the very next year. It wasn't in the 19 car. I believe it was in the 76, the final year of Furniture Racing. Regular season champion, ended up losing. It's very, very sad to say, but being the regular season champion is almost a curse. I mean, I don't know of any regular season champion that's actually won the final season championship. I don't know if Kyle Larson was the regular season champion. I don't remember. I don't think he was. I think somebody else was that year. But, win the regular season championship, you're almost guaranteed not to win the Cup championship at the end of the playoffs. So, I mean, great. You're all great and dandy, for winning regular season. But you almost want a gun for second because you know that first place isn't going to win the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's sad to say, but, okay. It's sad to say for some teams. When it comes to this year, I could care less. That first place probably won't win the championship. It's a 2311 car. They probably won't exist next year anyway. When it comes to this argument, I mean, when this all came out about the charter lawsuit, first thing came to my mind. Well, this is the end of 2311 and front row racing after all these charters they bought. Which, funny enough, NASCAR still has to approve all these charters that they bought. The
And they're
process
not.
hasn't even begun. So essentially, all these teams and drivers that have plans for next year with those charters may be out of a job next year. That's a scary thought. The fact that your team that you're going to didn't sign the agreement and you may be out of a ride. And at that point, you just went from, being able to compete next year to not racing, period.
Yeah.
There's going to be more drivers than there are seats. And a lot of these big names, Michael McDowell, Tyler Reddick, or Bubba Wallace, Riley Herbst, who was rumored to be going to 2311. I think Noah Gragson was one of the front row motorsports rides. Zane Smith supposedly was one of them. All these drivers that are supposed to be going to front row in 2311. What's going to happen to them?
Yeah, I mean,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, guys like Gragson just sign a deal and all that.
I mean, it's
and now they're going to be
definitely
screwed.
A wild curveball that threw this silly season into an uproar. It's going to be an uproar. I'm not even sure how to even put this, because if we thought silly season was crazy in the past, 2024's off season is about to be absolutely insane. Like, this one might be one for the record books. It's definitely not something I saw coming. Heck, half the stuff that's happened this season, I didn't even have on my bingo card. Heck, we still have problems with people losing wheels on track. Why? It baffles my mind that we're still having problems with people losing wheels on track. I can't think of one team, at least in the past, I'm going to say 5 years. This car has been around since 2021. Since this next gen car has come out, we had the very first race of the next gen car. If we go back 4 more years, I can't think of one team that has lost a wheel on track while the car is moving. At least not that I can rattle off. I know there was one at Charlotte back in like 2009 when Brian Vickers spun out and the tire ended up in the infield. I cannot think of any incidences other than that where a wheel has come off mid-race and been an issue. Now, there has been issues with them rolling out on pit road, but that's not the problem we're discussing. We have more problems with this car or losing wheels on track than we have with any other car we've had.
This car is a problem. The car is a problem.
Besides the fact.
Getting back to it, we need to take a step back. I'm not saying we need to go all the way back to the Twisted Sister, but we need to go back to maybe the Gen 6 car.
Even when it comes to this new car, we're not even sure what makes are going to run next year. Or what models, I should say. Obviously, we know Toyota is going to be around, which I still don't understand why they're there. Ford is still here.
And remember,
we don't know what Chevy's running next year. From what I've seen, when they released the William Byron paint schemes, and I think they released a few Spire paint schemes, there is no Camaro on that car. It is essentially a Chevy ZR1. That's what they're going to call it. It does not say Camaro. It's a Chevrolet across the back bumper. I'm not sure what's going on, if that's just a rendering and they're going to change it next year. I have heard talks that it's going to be a Malibu, but I'm not sure. I know the Camry is a 4-door vehicle, or I think it's an XR, whatever it is. But the Camry was a 4-door vehicle. The Mustang is a 2-door vehicle. If they go Malibu, That's a four-door. There's also been talks that maybe they'll introduce the Corvette. I'm not so sure about that one, but that will
No,
be interesting. The
that won't
only
happen.
logical car that I could think of would be the Malibu, unless they decide to change the make. You know, take something from Cadillac and make it a Chevrolet, make. Still, I can't. All these teams that are Chevrolet teams now, I can't see them going to Cadillac. I'm sorry, but buy on
Well,
win on Sunday, buy on Monday. That's a bit of a stretch to go
for
to Cadillac.
the simple fact, and this is strictly my opinion, but for the simple fact that they took the Camaro name completely off of the car for next year, tells me that they have something in the works. They're not just gonna stay Chevrolet and that's it. They have
Yeah,
something up their sleeve that they're not letting out yet.
and it makes you wonder: are they gonna go with the Impala, not the Impala, but if they're gonna remake, maybe the Chevelle? But I still don't. I haven't
That
seen
won't
anything
ever
in the
happen.
Chevelle lately. I've
The
heard talks of it, but I don't know how accurate they are.
There
I
have
have
been
heard that it may be the Malibu, but at the same time, all this stuff is rumors. None of this has been factually proven yet. Chevy has been very tight-lipped about it, so
the only
until they
thing I
know.
the only thing I've heard is that from some uh, inside source from inside Chevrolet and GM that they are working on a new car. That's all that anybody's let out. So other than that, we don't know what's going on, and I can't find anybody that does actually. I mean, nobody's heard
Before I
anything. Not
forget,
even the teams know.
there is one more. Speaking of new car, there is one more. I'm gonna go oddball headline this week. We've all seen how Haley Deegan, her performance has
Oh
gone up
gosh,
and down. I want to touch on this just because I know your thoughts, but I want, our switching gears community to see I want to see their thoughts on this. Obviously, we've seen Haley Deegan has had success in the ARCA series and the lower NASCAR series. Truck series, when she went to DGR, she struggled a little. It was, first time in the trucks. Took a few years. Her performance got a little better. Obviously, when she went to Thor Sport, it was a little higher skill level than what she was. I feel like she should have gone with somebody around the same skill level. I feel like going to Thor Sport was a little too much at that time.
yeah, but I think Ford
But the
placed her
step
there.
that is also true. But excuse me, when she went from truck series not being able to finish her race to gonna jump to AM Motorsports with a team that she needed coached and they needed a driver to coach them. She needed a team to coach her. When it
Doesn't work
came to
out.
that, it wasn't going to work out. So obviously she lost her ride. I mean, the team since she's left, the only driver that's been able to perform is Joey Logano, and obviously he's going to be able to perform. He's a Cup Series regular. Go figure. Every time that car's been on track, it has been worse and worse than Haley drove, and that should say something. Is at least she was decent. But now the news has broke that she is now going from ARCA to Truck Series to Xfinity to now she's going to go open wheel. She started off in an off-road background, went to an on-road oval, to now she's going to take on open wheel. I think that honestly, this is I'm not going to say it's a wrong move, but it's definitely an extreme change in the past how many years.
I don't
I
feel it's
thought she was okay with EGR, but at the same time, when they changed over to Toyota, she obviously had to leave. She was sponsored by Ford Performance. But I don't know if move is going to work out for her. I really hope it does. I mean, she was a whole 2 seconds slower than the people who drive it normally. But at the same time, this is her first time driving an open wheel
well,
car. So I don't know how much of that is learning the car and how much of that is she's just that much slower than people who have done this before.
I'm sorry, but in my opinion, I honestly I
I
don't
don't like the
even.
move. I don't like the move. But at the same time, I wish her the best of luck. I really hope this works out for her. But realistically, I don't see this going any better
To be
than when you
honest,
move to Xfinity.
I'm not trying to be like mean to her, but I'm kind of glad that we're gonna be done hearing about her when it comes to NASCAR, because it's just the same thing every week when it comes to her. So I'm
I will
just
say, and I agree with you on the fact that yeah, it is getting a little old that she hasn't been able to perform. I do feel like she needed a little bit more time, either in the Xfinity series with a team that more suited her, or even the Truck series. I feel like going to Thorsport was a little too much too soon, but I do feel like it is time to move on from her. But also,
what did
she has
she's
shown flashes of you know improvement over others. We'll go with that. I mean, it was a nice change from watching the 10 car wreck every single week. At least she could somewhat run on track. There were a lot of people, a lot of instances where she was just taken out by drivers that were less skilled than her.
I mean, I this is gonna sound really bad to some people, and
Russ,
I
do
I
not
don't.
go unprofessional here.
I'm not
Just
going
kidding with you. I'm
unprofessional,
just
but
kidding. I'm just kidding.
maybe NASCAR just isn't for the females. I mean, how many NASCAR drivers we've seen come through the ranks that are female and they haven't done anything?
I'm going
Now,
to dispute that one.
I see a lot of them do well in IndyCar stuff like that, but
I'm not. I won't agree with that because in the ARCA series, I have seen that some of the now, granted, it is
I
the
didn't say
Toyota.
ARCA. I didn't say ARCA.
No,
I'm
no, no. I
talking
mean in
specifically
NASCAR,
NASCAR.
and I'm getting to that part. Is I'm trying to think of that Tori. I can't pronounce her last name. She has shown more improvement than I thought I was going to see. Like I figured we were going to have another Haley Deegan when it came to her joining the Truck Series. She only has 2 starts in the Truck Series, and I feel like she should have a better average finish than Haley Deegan did in the first 2 races she ran. But also the fact that she at least was contending for top tens, top 15s when she ran. Haley Deegan kind of struggled at first. I mean, obviously, super speedway races, I don't really count those. When it comes to other than super speedway races, that I don't know if it was Tony B or Tori B. I can never pronounce her last name. She has pleasantly surprised me when it comes to racing in upper series. She's had limited experience, but she's proven that she's at least you know, somewhat talented when it comes to other series. There is some lower series drivers who haven't been given the chance, or at least not yet, to move up that I feel like will thrive. We saw for the first time since Shauna Robinson, Danica Patrick came in. She made headlines. I think she had a
Yeah.
ninth place finish or something was her best career finish. We saw that improved with Haley Deegan. I believe she got a 5th place, top 5. First time a female's done that in how many years, I think. Obviously, we haven't had a female win in a top 3 series yet. I feel like it will not be long until that happens. I don't know how long that's going to be, but I do think that we are making progress towards that happening. I mean, we had Tina Gordon. She's been in the sport for had been in the sport for how many years in the Truck Series. She had shown flashes of success, just didn't have the rides. Shauna Robinson, obviously, that was not a great, you know, tier performance team. Kind of low quality. Danica Patrick wasn't any good in IndyCar, at least not in my opinion. Moving to NASCAR was a political stunt that failed miserably, and now she's in the NBC booth or in the broadcast booth, acting like she knows what she's doing. And I wish I could say that she is and knows what she's talking about, but I hear a lot more just yapping than I do actual, you know, content that actually helps. She's all over the place, and I really wish that they would just change the broadcast stuff for the Indy 500 because it sucks. But then you get to like Haley Deegan, who's followed up after Danica. She at least has some sort of stats that back her performance. I mean, I'd have to go look them up to see exactly what the numbers are. But if you watch, based on stats, we are making progress towards better female performance. And I'm not saying that it's, they're going to win in the next 10 years. But I do feel like there has been improvements over the stats when it comes to female drivers. Granted, they're not going to compare to the NASCAR drivers that are guys. But one of these days, I feel like one of these drivers we have mentioned that are coming through the ranks is going to win a race. Whether it's that Tony B girl or the Amber Balkan or whatever. I can't pronounce her name either. Some of these ARCA drivers, if given the chance, I feel it can move on. Obviously, that Andres Perez guy who just won the ARCA title will probably get in the Truck Series very soon. But give it time, and I feel like some of these females will move up into the sport and prove a lot of us wrong. For all we know, we may have a female Xfinity Series winner before we even know it, or a female Truck Series winner. I don't even know if there is one of those currently. But if we get a female Truck Series winner or a female Xfinity Series winner, it's very possible that very shortly after we're going to get a Cup Series winner that's a female. I'm not saying that it's not possible or that it'll never happen, but I do think it's going to take some time before it happens. Because obviously, it is a pretty male-dominant sport. But I'm not going to say that it's not possible. I do think that it's going to happen. But I know that I've rambled on long enough. I can't think of anything else that I need to cover NASCAR-wise or, in general-wise. But I will say that, it's been an interesting week. And with Homestead coming up, only 2 races left before the finale, things are about to get a lot wilder. So, I don't know if you're ready to wrap it up. I'm pretty good. I think I got everything I need out. We're having technical difficulties again, I believe. So, let's see. You still there? There we go.
Yeah.
Have some technical difficulties.
The more updates they do to this streaming service app, the worse
the crazier it gets. So, I've got all my 2 cents out. I don't know if you've got any more.
No, I'm good. I'm done ranting.
All right.
So,
well, sounds like it's a wrap for tonight's show.
Yes, sir.
For Switching Grooves, I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Fritz saying race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.